You're on.
Good afternoon, VV Nation. Give everyone just a moment. We got the community room and the YouTube side of things. The first thing I do want to say, actually let the alert hit, people making their way into the room now. I don't know if everyone saw, but on the mobile live stream, Glenn did make an appearance. Woo, woo. If you missed it, just go on the YouTube channel, go on the most recent mobile live stream that was aired earlier today. The last 10 minutes, you can skip to it. He talks for a little bit. So if you want to see Glenn, see how he's doing, you can hear it right from him. That was definitely a great way to finish the week, right? A lot better than what the market's been doing. Bill says it was good to see Glenn. All right. I do see the alert just hit here. Let me move this over here a little bit. Maybe move this over here. There we go. All right. Edwin says Glenn was looking good. Glenn was looking good, right? I was kind of impressed with how Glenn was doing. But he was talking well. He was moving pretty good. He seemed in good spirits. So I'm excited about that. Again, I will be visiting him tomorrow. All right. We'll get to it. The market pulling back a little bit today. CPI, or not CPI, PCE data, inflation ticking up to 2.9%. Definitely some of the tech pulling back, small caps pulling back a little bit. All right. I see everyone is making their way into the room here. There it goes. Looks like the alert has hit. The viewership is where it needs to be. All right, U.S. trade deficit rose 22% to $103 billion in July, well above expectations. Interesting. All right. Well, you know what it is. It's Stock Analysis Power Hour. And because we're all hyped up, because Glenn was here in the last live stream, he made a special appearance. Again, if you're just tuning in, he did visit us at the office, and he did make an appearance for about the last 10 minutes of the mobile live stream that aired at 12 o'clock today. So if you want to check it out, if you want to see him or hear from him directly, just check out the last 10 minutes of that live stream. All right, everybody, go ahead and start typing in those symbols. It's Stock Analysis Power Hour. Now's a good time to definitely be looking at stocks here. Gold is, that's the big mover today. I've been pretty bullish on gold, last 2 weeks now. I'm still going to be in the gold camp. GDX. TLRY. All right, keep giving them to me. I'm going to try to get as many as I can. KGC. STRL. Ryan, do you know of any Unisearch that targets profitable companies that are oversold or rebounding? I would just, best of the biggies. The bottom fishing one is a pretty good one because I usually give you good companies. Otherwise, just look for, sell rated stocks, maybe rising earnings per share, positive growth rate earnings, things of that nature. That's not a bad idea. Maybe I can do a video on that for a 6 p.m. video. Tonight's 6 p.m. video talking about Unisearch. I dive into Unisearch, see how we can find hot industries. See your Uber, BOWL. TEM, TBBK, BABX. Chris says, totally missed the live stream today. Glad to hear Glenn is doing good. Yes. If you have to check it out, it's the last 10 minutes. It was emotional, but it was heartwarming. It was a good live stream. Great way to end a live stream. Let's see here. ANRGF. No, we don't have that one. TM, CCJ, GS, HNH, PF. Sing 5 new. There has been an update with Glenn. Honestly, you can hear him. He was on the last live stream. Just go to the mobile live stream on our channel. The last 10 minutes of it, just fast forward to it. Glenn is doing good. Glenn is doing good. I'm going to go visit him tomorrow at his house. So he is back home, and he's moving in the right direction. Right direction. I see here. Light, Lite. Janice says, did I miss Glenn? I am late. Glenn was, he did head back home. If you want to see how he is doing, check out the mobile live stream, Janice. He's in the last 10 minutes. ARMN KGC APPHIMS. All right. Khan says, Ryan, why must we have YouTube when we have a great community room such as this? Just another way to engage and get the word of VectorVest out there. Please widen the symbol column. Yes, I will tighten that up here. All right, we got hymns here. We got app. All right, give me more symbols. We got 26. We got 26 stocks right now. BLDR. CPRX. Broadcom reports next week, by the way, in case you do not know that. I was surprised he's doing this well already. Yes, he is moving in the right direction. As far as his physical health, he's definitely making some improvements there since the last time I've seen him. I did get to hang out with him for a little bit between these two live streams. Got to catch up with him. He's very excited to be out of the house, right? Let's see here. Ethereum, ETHA, OGI. All right, a lot of stocks coming through here. Oh, shoot. VRT, VST, GROY, VNet, ETHA, OGI, Orla. All right, Troy says Orla here. Add a couple more. We got GDX. Look at that. We're got a lot of stocks. Nice. LPTH. Anyone doing anything fun this Labor Day weekend? Anyone going anywhere exciting? I will be here. Not doing anything too exciting this weekend. Next weekend, we'll be out. I'll be out next Friday, by the way. So I'm not exactly sure who they will bring in next Friday. But you could get someone like Steve Chappell. Could get a Jerry D'Ambrosio. I'm not exactly sure who they will be bringing in. STX. All right, 43 stocks. Let's see here. Neg. Someone said. There we go. I wonder what Neg is doing. That short squeeze fell apart pretty quickly. Going to MT, was that Montana? MT Shasta. What is MT Shasta? Dennis? I am curious about that one. Do you know what MT Shasta is? No? Interesting. You're not going to swim with the sharks again. Bill, you going to step in for me next Friday? Bill said he's available. And Bruce, I'm going to go swim with some sharks next weekend. Next Saturday, I rented a jet ski. And if I find a nice nurse shark, I probably would jump in the water with it. I'll be down in Destin, so there's a lot of hammerheads, a lot of nurse sharks, dolphins, sea turtles, so I'm excited about that next Saturday. Let's see here. HMY. NHRA. Oh, wait, no, that's Indy. OZK, Bank of the Ozarks. I haven't even looked at that stock in a while. AREC, BYD. All right, George says, what happened to Glenn? If you are not caught up to speed, Glenn had a stroke back in June. He had to do some rehabilitation. Finally made it back home this past week. And if you want to see him, again, he was in the live stream. Can you make the screen larger height-wise? Height-wise, I cannot make the screen larger. All right, we got TECX here. Mount Shasta. Okay, Mount Shasta. I've checked that out. Might be a pretty place. I love mountains. I'm a big backpacker. I love hiking caves and climbing cliffs. Nothing safe with any of that. All right, so we've got 46 stocks. 46 stocks. If you have another stock, say it now or forever. What's the saying? Forever hold your peace. Forever hold your peace, right? I had Brian says I had my stroke May 2024. Blood clot to my brain, made almost full recovery. I am glad, Brian. Well wishes to you. That is awesome. That is awesome. The symbol column shrunk again. Yes, Bill. Yeah, I'd be doing that sometimes. All right, got a couple more here. PAASTSLY. Yield. SoFi. SoFi's been a popular one. IONQ. DPST. All right. That's it. That's the last stock there. That should put us at 50. Bill snuck in NVDL. That's the last one. NVDL. There we go. That's the yield max there. All right. Let's graph them. Actually, before we go into the graphs, you know me, I like to see where the value is at, see where the speculation's at. The value, look at that gold up at the top of the list here and seeing momentum today to the upside. If you missed it, it was about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. I did a video. It was contra ETFs or gold. Gold just looked better, and that's playing out to be much, much better of a play here. But yeah, just looking at the top here, I mean, gold. A lot of gold at the top of the list here when it comes to value as well. If we take a look at the gold stocks, that's where the momentum is today. As we scroll down the list here, move that over a little bit. 52 stocks. Y'all got me today. Y'all got me for a bunch of stocks today. These are the most overvalued. Newegg, 0.08. That is the short squeeze that has just completely fallen apart over the last few trading sessions here. Alex Arner says, if you do a quick test on the gold stocks, VRS, 3 times leverage is doing better than most gold stocks. Well, yeah, 3 times leverage, it would be doing much better than most of the gold stocks. Amir says, why semis crashed? Well, I don't think the days of NVIDIA, getting semis enthused. Who saw enthusiasm this last earnings call? I did not. Now here we've got quite a few stocks. A lot of these are overvalued as well. Of these stocks here, let's actually go over here. Let's see what's got the highest growth rate in earnings right now. Highest growth rate in earnings. Roll up to the top. Astera Labs at the top of the list. This stock's coming at 51%. App Lovin', Hims Hers, Orla Mining. Hey, that's not a bad gold stock to have on your radar. It's got the highest growth rate in earnings of any of the gold stocks in this list here. I like gold stocks quite a bit here. We got Kinross Gold in the top of the list. That's going to be the second one. A lot of these stocks have got phenomenal growth rate in earnings. Not many have negative growth rate in earnings. All right, let's get down to the charts because it is 2:14. We've got 52 stocks, so there could be some opportunities here. Or I could just be giving you some warning signals. We'll see what happens in the charts, right? Not just semis crash today. Most things are down today. Is this a problem? Well, I think the inflation data pretty much said it's really hard to justify an interest rate cut right now, right? So anything like growth stocks is probably not going to do so well. Semis is in that category. I'm sure AI stock. You look at Astera Labs, it's down today. Now, a lot of these growth stocks have had a great run, right? And to really, keep that rally intact, an interest rate cut for the market would have been just what the market needed for that. But, it's hard to get that justification with today's inflation report coming out. Let's see here. Oh, scroll. Let's go to 6-month chart. So on here today, I've got the 20 along with the 40-day. moving averages. It's 20-day EMA and a 40-day EMA. I'll have value on here. That's going to be the green line. You see Astera Labs clearly overvalued. Down below, I have forecasted data, growth rate and earnings, sales growth rate, earnings per share, as well as RT relative timing. Now, RT relative timing, great job. Great proprietary indicator. If you're not familiar with it, it just looks at the short-term price trend. Lets us know if the bulls are in favor or if the bears are in favor, right? Simple way to put it. You can see RT went positive as early as May. Price action that day, $80. Now it's 180. So you can see it's doing a great job. Now RT still remains above 1. Stock still has its buy rating, right? It's just kind of channeling to the side right now. The excitement is over. If you want any kind of confirmation to the upside, obviously there's the prior high. I'd like this retest that we saw on the 20-day EMA. Wouldn't be too surprised if we retested it again, right? We'll see what kind of follow through we get with the market. As far as the sentiment of the market, off of today's, down day. But again, the momentum is just to the side right now. As far as just a stock in general, great stock, phenomenal growth rate in earnings, sales growth rate outpacing it, 144. This is a great quality stock, but just not the best time to be buying it. As well, it's over its valuation. It is stretched on its valuation. We're only valuing the stock here at $39.57. So definitely showing, investors willing to pay a premium, right? Amir says, but inflation data was not that bad, was in line. Inflation data still showing inflation is climbing. Yeah, Amir, it was in line with expectations, but the expectation was a rise in inflation, right? So that rise is not good. Not good. Just because we're expecting higher inflation doesn't mean that's a good report that it came through, right? I'm just glad it wasn't higher than expectations. Now here's AppLovin. AppLovin just hit a high of his yesterday, right? I said this yesterday in the live stream. I'm thinking the hardware's taking a breather. You're seeing momentum in the software right now. We saw that optimism on some of the big software names that reported over the last 2 weeks. I'm just seeing that continuation. This one here, trading at a premium. It's okay. Just keep sure that you stay on the right side of that premium. I like these retests. A little overextended from the 20-day. I'd like to see it take a breather. Might even try to retest this prior swing here. Yeah, it looks like we're retesting that right now. But no real reasons for concern for AppLovin. Phenomenal data here. Growth rate 49%, sales growth rate 77%, rising earnings per share. Great stock. Here's HIMS. HIMS is in trouble. Look at this, another level of support. Looks like we might be taking out this prior low here. I'm going to be bearish on HIMS. The stock went from, $30 here? Let's just use a date line. And you can see, look, RT relative timing. The stock price to close that day is $49. The high came in. See, the high was $70. RT relative timing dipped below there, obviously with the gap down. But the trend just not in favor of the bulls right now. The momentum is not there for HIMS. Yeah, I'm not liking that chart. Here we've got INOD. Level support here, 35.60. Still want to see it above that. Right now, I'm bearish on this position. Again, we're getting a retest and rejection from the bottom end on this 20-day EMA. Great forecasted data, but the technicals are not there. And honestly, with this downtrend, if you got some patience and with a little bit of luck here, you might be able to get under our valuation at 34.77. But cannot be bullish on this position. You can see the sales coming in place here. Nothing saying, hey, let's go jump out and buy this stock. Orla Mining. Seeing some momentum, a lot of sideways oscillation with this position here. If we just use a horizontal line, you can see a clear level of resistance here. This would be my zone from about 1191 to 1282. Still got some room before we get to that resistance zone. Great forecasted data, undervalued position. Not as pretty as some of those other gold stocks. Just kind of moving to the side here. And look at RT just now becoming favorable. So if you are thinking about a gold stock on an early uptrend, this is not a bad idea. You can see that just got above those moving averages as well. Here is SoFi. SoFi hitting some long-term resistance from a trend line. You can see it's found rejection there recently. Right now, trying to it looked like it rejected, but wanted to go right back. If we break above this line, SoFi could just go parabolic. I mean, at least for maybe a couple sessions. But if it breaks above this line, it's going to want to pick up sharply. We saw this similar with Palantir when it broke above its ascending channel. Moved up a little bit for a couple trading sessions, then pulled back. So I'm still optimistic with SoFi. Nothing too bearish here. Still moving up. Down day to day, but no real concern. Growth rate 40%. Sales growth rate 31%. Rising earnings. Great stock here. Just trading at a premium. Here's Frequency Electronics. This is my favorite chart pattern. Undervalued with value rising, price rising. Forecasted data also on the move here. 39%, 28% on the sales side. EPS rising. Great stock. Really good stock here. If I use a horizontal line, probably, it looks like it's retesting the prior swing high here at the top of that. So I like that. Maybe. Here we've got Uber. You're right. We don't need a rate cut right now, but someone is going to force a cut. SF, yeah, I mean, a lot of people would like a rate cut. It depends what you're trying to do. But as far as inflation purposes, it's not going to be good for inflation. It's just put more heat on the economy. But here's Uber Technologies here. What I do like, look at the valuation, trying to keep up with price action, right? Trying to justify the premium that investors are trading. I like that. Forecasted data, 39%, 18%. Hey, earnings per share ticking up nicely as well. Just be careful because we are at the top right now. We see RT relative timing slipping back in unfavorable territory here. Right on the cusp of that right now, 1.03. And we lost the hold rating. So just be careful in Uber. Here is Micron. Micron's still just kind of in this channel to the side here. Really, I wouldn't be pulling the trigger unless it gets above 120. I will say 128 here above that prior high. Value on the rise, though. You could be getting a good deal on it. Just wait for the stock to come in itself. If you're in the trade, I'm not too concerned about it right now. But again, the semis in general, just not showing a lot of optimism there right now. Not a lot of momentum in that space. Slowing down a little bit. Forecasted data, 38%, 37%. Nice. Rising EPS, rising earnings per share. Just be careful. You see RT heading towards unfavorable territory. And if it becomes unfavorable in this channel, could be the bears are trying to pull it to the downside. Here's STX, Seagate Technology. I mean, this is smooth. Lower left, upper right. Still well above the 20. A little overextended. Wouldn't pull the trigger today. Might not be a bad idea if we could come back down here, retest the 40. You can see that was a pretty good entry point before. But stock is undervalued. 30% forecasted data. Rising earnings. This has got, trading and investment potential. I see the momentum there, and I see the investment potential just looking at the forecasted data. Here's Iris Energy. Gap up today. Hit a high close to $30. Pulling back a little bit. Probably a lot of profit taking. I mean, let's be honest. The stock was about $5 not long ago and went up to, close to $30. So, if you're in it, I don't know where you got it in at, but don't be scared to, take some profits off the table here. I know I started talking about it, maybe sub $20 when I did the video last week. Maybe I think it's $22, but still, if you're up in some money, don't lose the profit. It's up a lot in a little bit of time, and that's never a bad thing. Here's Kinross Gold. Look at that nice full body candlestick today. The momentum is here. Was it Orla that was moving to the side? I like this. This I like Kinross Gold. I think Kinross Gold was in the gold video I did 2 weeks ago. If you missed it, check it out. There's definitely some good gold candidates in there. Growth rate and earnings on the rise, 37%. Sales growth rate also ticking up, 42%. Earnings per share. These are good stocks across the board here, looks like. But we did resort them by GRT, or growth rate and earnings. So a lot of the stocks, at the top of the list are going to be good, right? 1X today on iron. Nice. Yes, that was a great stock call there. The software did a good job on that one, I will say, because it was one of the better ones as far as valuations. I think that was the whole reason why I wanted to talk about it so much, because it's not every day you find a crypto stock that's undervalued. It's overvalued now, though, with the big move up. Here's NVIDIA. This is what I've been talking about here. We broke the 20. We're breaking the ascending channel here. We're sitting on that 40-day. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. Can't necessarily tell you what to do here, but we went from an ascending channel, TSM, AMD, they're all moving to the side. So now we're looking at more like a channel to the side here, right? We're still in the channel to the side. So if it breaks much below 169, I'd begin defensive. But you got to ask yourself where you're at here. If we get a real pullback in the market, I could see it all going back down to 153. But you just got to ask yourself, what your intentions with NVIDIA are. If your whole ordeal is just to swing trade it on this uptrend here, well, guess what? The uptrend is now showing signs of weakness. If you're a long-term investor, hey, act accordingly, right? But NVIDIA's overall still a good stock. Like I said, though, earlier this week, my number one concern is just, China. And not necessarily the revenue problem, or lack of revenue from China right now. Because, again, I don't know if you saw the earnings report, but he gave no guidance. They didn't count in $1 from China, right? And when you saw the video I put out earlier this week, China, they don't want to be on our chips, trust me. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But I still like NVIDIA overall. It's just, showing signs of weakness in that current rally. Here is Lumentum Holdings. I like it. And if I had to guess, maybe we're probably going to come back or want to retest this at some point. Might be retesting that now. Overall, the momentum is there. Not just too many cracks in the armor to really talk about. As far as getting into it, I'm not going to do it today on a down day. I'd give it a little breather. Maybe see if we get closer to this 20-day. Or see if it pivots off of this, retest from this prior high. Forecasted data, again, another phenomenal stock here, double digits, rising earnings per share, big tick up in the last, 3 to 4 months here. That's optimistic. Here's Gold Royalty. Look at that, value and price action. You could see the stair-step fashion there. Love it. That is exactly what I want to see. When I talk about these gold stocks, I always say, be very picky with the gold stocks because there's so many undervalued gold stocks showing momentum. Look at this. Forecasted data, 31%. Sales growth rate, 113%. So if you ever give me a gold stock that's overvalued, that's got negative forecasted data, I'm going to be like, why? Why would you even look at that one? You just look at the gold stocks in the VectorVest 7 software. You can find some really good ones here. So be choosy, or at least my opinion, be picky about them. Harmony Gold. Look at that's not what you want to see. This is not the gold stock. Look at that breakout. Is that earnings? It was earnings. Wow. You could see the channel to the side, breakout to the downside of that channel. You could do some bottom fishing there, but why risk it and take I see a breakout to the bottom of that channel. Again, a lot of good gold stocks out there. You could risk it and potentially, make a little bit more bottom fishing on this one, or you could, look at gold stocks like the last one, doing what we want it to do, moving up, right? Gold up plus oil down. Good for gold miners. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But Harmony Gold, interesting that earnings went down. I'd have to look at that earnings report and see exactly what caused that. I would have thought it probably done well, especially with the price of the commodity alone shooting up. You see RT slipping below 1 here. So if you do want to do some bottom fishing, maybe wait for RT to go back above 1. Forecasted data, again, pretty good ratings here. Not as good as the last one, 31, 27%. I'd like to see sales growth rate outpace earnings growth rate, right? And there's a lot of gold stocks that do that. So maybe focus on those. But otherwise, the technicals, not in favor of this one. Here is AREC. That drop in value there, I'm waiting to see what happens on the next tick, see what happens here. But you see the earnings per share just went -2. I'm not sure. That's the forecasted data that just recently came in. This is what I was more concerned about, was this retest on this trend line. You can see here, But this is the other line I have around 195, right? We see a retest on that. So it's going to want to make a decision, sooner rather than later. But if it breaks much below 195, hey, get defensive. Depending on what your goal is here or objective. But the stock was undervalued or fairly valued with value rising. So I don't know. We'll have to look at this value and see what happens. But that value and that EPS, something came in with the forecasted data. Not so good. But right now with that bearish touch there and rejection, just be careful. I'm a little bit more pessimistic than optimistic right now. Here is Powell. I mean, that's a steady Eddy. I mean, if you just look from this time frame right here. Ooh. I mean, nice. I mean, here's the channel. Broke out in just a nice stair-step fashion to the upside. This is Powell Industries forecasted data. 30% sales growth rate, -1. Not the greatest there. Let's go 3 months. But yeah, down day to day. Can't recommend getting into this stock either. It's just not the time to necessarily be loading up on stocks at the time. Let's see, RT still above 1. Still looks good. Still in that uptrend. You could see around that 20, around that 40 is usually a good time to get in. Here is Wix. I see value declining. I see price declining. I see all three forecasted data is declining, so I don't like that. Let's go to 6 months. Still, no. I'm not. It's hard to justify that one. I get why it could be attractive as far as bottom fishing. If you want a little bit more confirmation, just to make sure we don't just get rejection, say later this afternoon or, come Tuesday after the holiday, wait for this RT to get back above 1. That'll give us some inclination that, hey, maybe there's some bottom fishing opportunities here when it comes to Wix. Here's VRT, Vertiv Holdings, another good one. Price action, look at that, the rejection here, right at that 40. That's what I'm talking about. And then the 20 there, rejection here. So, yeah, I'm going to be bearish on this one as well. Overvalued, mixed bag on the forecasted data. It's good numbers, but the growth rate's declining a little bit here. And look at the RT. Looks like it's heading towards unfavorable territory. I don't like that rejection, so just be careful if you're holding that. Get a little bit more defensive on VRT. Here's Broadcom, also big down day today. They report earnings next week, right? The stock trading at a premium right now. We only value the company at 183, currently trading at 295, so definitely a premium there. Buy rating across the board. Forecasted data, not too shabby. 26% on the earnings side. Sales, 20%, right? Rising earnings per share. Nice, steady, stair-step fashion. I like that. Let's see here. Another gold stock. Look at that candlestick. Trading at session highs right now. This is what I like to see. I mean, value on the rise. The momentum is there. Moving averages are in our favor. All the forecasted data is rising over the last 6 months. I mean, 25%, 74 sales. This is a phenomenal stock here. Great stock. Here is Sterling. Sterling looks like it's broke that ascending channel. There it goes. Actually broke it and then retesting it from the bottom. And then now retesting this 40 day. If it breaks the 40, definitely would get defensive, right? That would be my cutoff. Where's that 40 at? Probably 266. You got about $10 there. You got a little bit of a buffer. And you can see the bulls already coming in, trying to get in a little bottom wick here. But just be careful. It just broke that ascending channel. If I had to guess, it might be moving into a sideways channel, just like what we saw with NVIDIA, right? Just taking a breather right now. No real reasons for concern, but if it gets back below that 266, just be careful. Earnings per share rising. Sales growth rate actually went from negative to positive, ending at 5% here. Growth rate and earnings did climb the 6-month period, 25%. Another good stock. Here's Cameco, the mining company's uranium, just overvalued. It gapped out. Looks like a bearish Harami. Or no, dark cloud cover. Yeah, it looks like a dark cloud cover here with the gap up and now entering the body about halfway through that body there. Growth rate 24%, sales growth rate 45%, rising earnings per share. I like it. Just trading at a premium, big down day to day, not in a rush to buy it. Pan American Silver, another good stock here. I mean, look at this, value rising, price rising, commodity base 24, 18%. Earnings per share is ticking up nicely. I mean, look, earnings per share back here was 160. Now we're at 206. Catalyst Pharmaceuticals, nope. I see rejection. Those moving averages are not in our favor. I'm going to be bearish on this position. You got value on the decline and price action on the decline. Forecasted data, no big concern there. But look at that RT. I mean, the relative timing just told you when the bears took control of the stock. This was back by June 12th. And the stock that day was $24. It's down about 25% since then. Here is Primoris Service Corp. I mean, what's that? I mean, it's beautiful. Everything's rising. Let's see here. Use my horizontal line. Might get a little pullback to retest this. That would be a healthy pullback. But value's rising, prices rising, growth rate, sales, earnings, RT's been favorable for quite some time here. Another great stock. Not any real big concerns at this time. Here is Tempest AI. You see the software side showing momentum lately, right? Was below 60, now it's about 75. Earnings per share, a little bit of a turnaround story here, losing less money than they have been. Sales growth rate, 90% increase. I could see a little enthusiasm there. And look at the RT relative timing. Still in favorable territory here. Looks like it's going to hold above 1. Looks like we're getting a retest right on this 20-day. This might be a nice little pullback to scoop up. Here's VNet Group. The forecasted data looks good. The earnings per share, I do like that turnaround story from negative to positive. I just need to see a little more confirmation. If you're not in it already, let's just take out the prior high. If you're in it, looks like that momentum is picking up for the bulls right now. Just make sure you don't get too much rejection here and end up back below the 20-day EMA. Here is Hanhai. My favorite chart pattern, value rising, price rising, all the forecasted data coming in favorable, 21% on both categories here. RT remains favorable. Bulls have control. And you can see this 20-day, typically not a bad idea or a bad time to accumulate shares. We are here now. So just keep that in mind. But overall, that looks like a good stock. Another one rising here. This is Organigram Holdings. Forecasted data is actually really good. Earnings 20%, sales growth rate 70%. The stock undervalued. Buy rating in place right now. There is momentum here, and it's a cheap stock. $1.71. We value the company. $2.11. Not a bad stock to have on your radar at all. And now the RT is in favorable territory, so it is in the favor of the bulls right now. Not a bad undervalued low price stock. Here's Vistra Energy. This does not look good at all. At least as far as being bullish on it, I see rejection at that 20-day. We're testing it from the bottom now. Forecasted data is good. EPS is good, but the technicals are not there. If you're in this position, just protect profits. I mean, the stock was $100. I mean, it went up to 200. I don't know where you bought it at, but if you're up quite a bit, protect those profits. And you see RT just crossed below 1, so the bears are starting to take charge in that position. This is another beautiful stock. Value rising, price rising. I mean, everything looks good here. A little overextended. Of course, I'm not going to buy it now. If you want to buy a dip, that's the pivot I'm looking for, around $70.50. And you see the 20-day EMA moving in there. If you give it a couple more sessions, that 40 might be moving in there as well around that level of support. That might be a good scoop level. But yeah, this is TBBK. I put an alert around 70.50. See what happens. Here's Goldman Sachs Group. A little bit of momentum to the upside. I like that value. It's just been a nice steady Eddie stock over the last few months. Forecasted data, nothing alarming. But hey, it's got rising earnings. That's another good stock. Here's Fortress Bio. Look at the value jump up on that lately. Big body candlestick today. Not an expensive stock either. $2.60. Forecasted data, double digits. EPS is negative, but heading in the right direction. RT ticking up. I like the momentum there. Might not be. I'd use Star Search on this one. I bet this one would be good for Star Search for that momentum. If you have it, look at Star Search. That would not be a bad idea at all. BJ's, this looks crappy. It just hit a new low. Took out the prior swing low 6 months ago, I see. It's overvalued too. Forecasted data is not that spectacular. Earnings per share is rising, but just not a price chart I want to see. This is just not, I can't get enthused about this at all for being bullish. Here's Boyd Gaming, BYD. Look at that, lower left, upper right. Value still ticking up, well above $100 right now. Forecasted data is looking good, 9-7%. Nothing too crazy there. EPS is ticking up nicely. You said the NPI? I'm going to say it's unfavorable. Just guessing here. This is the near perfect indicator. Yep, you can see. Nothing. You got no trigger. You got no trend. You haven't had a trend there in quite a few months. Let's check it out on this one. Boyd, we got trend. Trigger is not there right now. So I'm not going to be a buyer right now. But if you're in it, the trend is still in your favor. Here's Bank of Ozarks. We've had trend for some time. And actually, we just got trigger not long ago. We see momentum picking up. Just hit a new high. Might not be a bad one. Here's Granite Share. This is double leverage Alibaba here. I mean, look at this. I'm already going to say that's my resistance zone here. Just be careful. We're already seeing a little bit of an upper wick forming. But look, we've got trigger, and the trend is just now starting to take shape. This might be an early trend warning here for when it comes to BABA. Here's directional regional banks. Look at this. Price action rising. We got trend. We've got trend for a little while. We actually broke out above this. Got trigger as well. That one looks good. Ethereum. We've had trend for quite some time now. We are losing trigger, so it's not a good time to buy Ethereum. And actually, it just looks like we might have broke below our descending channel here. Or ascending channel, I should say. No. There's the ascending channel. Yeah, it looks like we might have just broke below that ascending channel. So keep that in mind, okay? Ethereum, I'm going to give you the same guidance. We just broke the ascending channel. So your guess is as good as mine on when it could hit the bottom or find some support. But this is going to be the logical place right here. On ETHE, you're looking around $32, $31.90. Currently at $35.54. Here's gold miners. I mean, look, the trend of gold has been in favor of the bulls for the last 6 months. We took a little breather here, but trigger just came in a few weeks ago, it looks like. You see trigger coming in. Back on August 6th. Price action to the upside ever since. Very nice, very nice. Here's another one, NVDL. This is another ETF here. We've got trend, but again, NVIDIA just showing weakness with that momentum lately. So we did lose trigger. So not a good time to be buying NVIDIA. But, if you already have it, just know that the trend is still in your favor, right? You got to ask yourself, what was your intentions with NVIDIA? Was it just a good swing trade, which this was a pretty good swing trade, or are you in it for the long haul? That's not a question I can answer. Here's Tesla Yield Max. A, I don't like Tesla, and B, I don't like Yield Maxes. I do apologize. It's just my opinion. But look at this. I mean, this Yield Max here went from $18 to $7.79. I don't know what yield it pays, but I know it's a crazy one. But your initial investment would have just dropped dramatically, more than 50%. As far as the short term here, you don't have trend. but you do got some trigger. And you see Tesla, yield max just rolling over once again here. Again, this is not a chart I like, but that's on you. Here is TEL. We got the trend. You see it's just a little channel here, a little sideways oscillity, as Glenn would say. But yeah, it's in a channel, so you just got to break out of that channel. Ryan, how do I find today's mobile live stream? Just go to YouTube. Go to our main channel on YouTube. Click on the live section and just scroll down to the most recent mobile. It'll be archived there. But yeah, as far as this one, you can see in the channel, we lost trigger, right? So yeah, if you're in it, hey, I'm not going to make any decision. Right now, the short-term trend does not look in favor of the bulls. But still, the long-term trend's there. Yeah, I'm not going to act upon it. If we break above it, hey, that's probably going to signal this trigger shortly after, right, with some confirmation. Otherwise, if we break below, have some patience. We do have a gap to fill here, but that's a little ways down. I'm not too worried about that right now. Overall, looks good. We're at the upper end of that channel. Here's Tilray. Hit $1.60 not long ago. It's currently at $1.39 right now. We got trend. Trend is in favor of the bulls. It has been in favor now. Since the stock was about 50 cents or about 60 cents here. RT relative timing. The trigger also has been in favor for quite some time here. Michael says, was there any certain reason the markets sold off today? I would probably go with the reason of the inflation report. Came in at 2.9. It ticked up. Yeah, it's in line with expectations, but it's not good if expectations are higher. That's also. All right, but yeah, here's Tilray. Tilray looks good overall. I mean, really just what price action. This would be ideal. You can see price action is trying to stay above that. But if it breaks, it pulls back a little bit. I'd look around 125 for a level support. 125. Otherwise, we still got trigger. RT trigger still in favor, the short terms. Just got another trigger on light path. Trend has been there for quite some time. Actually, going to switch this back to our other one. The long weekend could definitely be, especially, markets highs. There are a lot of reasons for, some profit taking today. This is just overextended for my liking. I'm not going to jump into it. Forecasted data, overvalued. Nothing in the VectorVest system says, hey, let me go out and buy it. But the momentum is there. I would use the star search layout to help capture that momentum. It's probably your best bet. Use that star search layout. Here is NEG. NEG is now at $53. It's completely broken apart here. You can see the trade. So, yeah, I did short it at 117. This 40-day here. Now it's at 60, but I took profits closer to that. I was thinking that's, we might get a little bounce here, maybe a round 2 of the short squeeze, but the short squeeze is completely falling apart. If you like short squeezes, if you like momentum, probably look somewhere in this zone here for the pivot if it happens, and that's probably between about $34 and $25 on the low. So it's a big range there, but again, this is a volatile play. This is a short squeeze. Yield max usually 25% or more in dividends. Yeah, no, they usually do pay good in dividends, but if your initial investment went from $18, what was that, like $7 or $8? I don't care about the 25% dividend. I just lost most of the money I put in there, and I have been speculative. Me, I've never really been, advocated yield maxes. If you get in at a good price, but I don't know if Tesla's the one to get in. I think there'd be other ones. I'm not a big fan of Tesla right now either, but just the stock's in its own way. People are getting ready for September. That could cause selling after a big up summer. Yeah, Michael, I also agree with that. Definitely agree with that. All right, but yeah, NEG, just keep an eye on it. Maybe down here, things might get interesting. Or if you're thinking about shorting it, I look here to kind of, take profits in that short, somewhere in that zone. Amplitech Group, AMPG. Look at that. 2 big days in a row. Just hit a 6-month high. I like that out the gate. Sales growth rate, 336%. That's a good number. It almost makes up for that negative growth rate I see there at 6%. Maybe I can ignore that a little bit. Earnings per share is negative, but it is moving in the right direction, right? It is moving in the right direction. 0.08. Star Search. If you're not familiar with it, we got Star Search layout here. This is a good high momentum layout. There's Star Search. There we are. You see we just got in the fast lane here. Every time it gets in the fast lane, it likes to capture some of that momentum you see in the past. But I like the trade overall. I mean, it's a nice steady eddy to the upside of pretty much over the last 6 months here. Pretty consistent. All right, that is the last one. Whew, that was a lot of stocks today. A whole lot of stockies. Actually, since we were talking about gold, these are the videos I've been doing since July here. I guess, I used the top gold stocks in VectorVest. I didn't create a watch list that day. All right, well, never mind. I was going to show you that. Now, I do want to take a look at these rare earths. I know AREC, a lot of people have been looking at lately. They are down today. METC here. Also, METC is the only one up a little bit today. But again, now American Resources, again, the whole reason why I came across the radar was the valuation. We saw that plummet in valuation. We saw that plummet in earnings per share. Hopefully that was just a little hiccup in the forecasted data. Keep your eyes on that. See if that changes in the next few days. Other than that, if you missed it, if you came in late, how I want to end is just on a good note. I just want to let everybody know that Glenn did stop by the office today. He was on the live stream earlier today. He did partake. He got to talk to you guys. Expanded. I know it keeps going. It drives me crazy going back. So if you want any updates, just go to VectorVest.com/Glenn. Or better yet, if you want to hear him talk, or if you want to see how he's doing in person, just go to our YouTube channel. If you go to the main homepage, click on the live tab. Go to the mobile live stream that was earlier today. If you want to watch it, you can. Otherwise, just skip to the end. It's about the last 10 minutes. The last 10 minutes is Glenn. So if you just want to hear his voice, see how he's doing, definitely check that out. It's great news going into the holiday weekend here. John says, do I like coin? I don't like coin right now. I'd rather do Ether than coin right now. Rather do Ether than coin. Yeah, that's a lot better chart than coin. Coin's overvalued. I think a lot of that, the crypto hype has kind of lost its mojo. You can see the stock was up well over 400. Let's just change this real quick. Value here, value 149. Yeah, and that looks like retesting from the bottom end of those moving averages. Can't get too excited about it. But again, just gotta ask yourself, what your goals here. If you're just if you bought this bottom and you're just swing trading it, yeah, you're probably starting to hit your stops now, right? Otherwise, if you thought it was more of a long-term investment, just make sure you've got a plan in place. Investors are paying a premium right now, but let's be honest, Coinbase, Binance, Robinhood, Webull, they all got into the crypto brokerage space early, so they are ahead of the curve, right? So as more adoption occurs, and more trading volume occurs, these types of companies are going to benefit from it. I like Coinbase in general, but yeah, right now the technical is showing me to be a little bit more on the defensive side. Fox says, Ryan, I'm going to ask you what I usually ask Glenn ahead of a long weekend. What's on the grill this weekend? What should I put on the grill this week? I am off Monday. I'm probably going to I like brats and I like salmon. Something about a bacon, avocado, salmon sandwich. That's my favorite thing. Either that or it's brats. It's probably one of those two things. I know those two very different things, but what are you going to... I got Thad in the background. We're still, get him caught up to speed. Thad, what are you throwing on the grill this weekend? Hamburger?
Hot dogs.
What do you... Just...
Little corn on the cob on the grill, too.
Never
go wrong with corn on the cob on the grill.
You cannot go wrong. John says, ... bacon, avocado, salmon, ... or brats, Me personally, I'd rather go with the bacon, avocado, salmon.
Because Glenn was here, I'll throw some bacon on the hamburger.
Hey, at least I got bacon on my salmon. John, I could have said avocado salmon and it sounded really bougie. You gotta have some bacon on there. But brats. I like brats. We'll see what happens. All right, everybody. Have a safe and wonderful Labor Day weekend. Again, keep Glenn in your prayers. We got some optimism there today. I will definitely be doing so. I'm going to go see him tomorrow. And if I have any more updates next week, I will most certainly do so. Chris says, salmon avocado. You sound like a West Coast guy. How much Jarvis wine this weekend? Ooh, I try to get some Jarvis wine. But I don't know. I have to see what my sister's up to. But yeah, Jarvis wine's always good on the weekend. Roxana, thanks, Ryan of EV Nation. Have a great long weekend. It was great seeing Glenn today, right? Hey, even though we got a down day in the market, let's give it to Glenn. On that note, everyone have a great weekend. Take care. Bye.